As far as what I would look back on the game, or excuse me, as far as tailoring or trying to get more done or changing a portion of the game now that it's finished, you know, looking back at it, I could have had another year or another 2 years, and it wouldn't have changed the fact I never have enough time to adjust and refine, and you know that's just the way it is for me. Well, you know, thinking about the typical development process, the trend seems to be that when you finish a game that you've been working on for so long and breaking your back over, you kind of don't want to look at it anymore. You know, you're done with it. But you know, seeing Smash, I really truly feel that this is a game that, you know, I'm really not tired of yet, and I'm really enjoying it. I feel relieved in knowing that this game has that kind of staying power, particularly to myself, and I'm very proud of that. So as far as design and planning and that sort of thing is concerned, I feel like anything I've considered, I'm probably going to think about again and when or if another game was to come out in the series, and so I'd like to kind of keep a lid on that for now and not disclose anything I've been thinking about there. Well, when I first started making Smash Bros. Brawl, especially, particularly between friends, so friend matches, I thought it would be wonderful to have both voice chat and potentially keyboard-based chat as well. But there are all sorts of rules and regulations regarding this kind of communication, especially working on the platform on which I'm working. And so, you know, it was apparent to me that it just couldn't come together. We weren't going to be able to do it, and so we decided to cancel that. So yeah, I'm very sorry about that, but if you're really desperate for it, how about, you know, you could set up Skype next to your game station and go at it with a friend, if you like. So as far as just sort of thinking about the characters, adding characters from other series and from other worlds, really, so from outside the Nintendo world, is an incredibly difficult process. In some ways, it's more difficult than just building a game from the ground up, because you're really trying to make everything match. And you know, in some ways that creates a limitation. I hope that people can understand that that's one of the reasons that's the reason we can't include more characters from outside the Nintendo world. And of course, you know, I believe that when you increase the number of worlds, you're also increasing the number of people that could potentially enjoy that, you know, the video game and the different series that you're putting in there. But that does present a problem, because having these non-traditional, non-Nintendo characters in the game, even with just Snake and Sonic, has resulted in a number of people who do dissent in seeing these characters put into the Smash series. And so it's not a simple matter of just simply adding as many new worlds and new characters from different games as possible. You know, you can't be careless in doing that sort of thing. You need to be careful. And so even within, you know, internally and externally, there have been people that have raised objections to it, and so that's another reason. No, there are no characters that can be unlocked via connecting to Wii 24 or interacting with that fashion. I may be mistaken here, but the Wii, you know, it doesn't work on a hard disk. It's a disk-based system, and so I don't think we'll be doing that. I don't think it's going to happen. Well, the series has already come 3 iterations, and so, you know, I can't certainly say with 100% confidence that there won't be any additional Smashes or Smash games ever. But at the same time, I'd really like to note that I feel like with this current game, with Brawl, there are already so many modes and so much to do that it's really hard to exhaust what you can do with this game, and that I'm really against the idea of merely, you know, creating a sequel that would add modes or increase the number of characters in the roster. All those sort of things that just simply fatten up the game are something I'd like to avoid if a sequel ever came out. Well, you know, seeing the success that Smash has had being played with the Wii Remote held sideways, I don't think that there are control limitations that keep it from being ported to the DS. But I personally have no plans to do this myself, and if in the future such a thing was to be planned, it would be up to Nintendo to decide how and when and in what way they would like to implement that sort of, to create that sort of game. Well, I'm sure that people hitting ranks 1 through 10, were there such a ranking system, would be incredibly pleased with it and having a lot of fun. But it's not all fun for everyone involved per se. Were such a system to exist. I was asked this time around to try and get Wi-Fi into the game, and so certainly we've managed to get wireless battles so you can play with people in other places. But it's really a game that, in my mind, has been designed to be played with a smaller group of people, be that a group of friends or within your house, your family members. Being in those, competing in those small circles, and not really worrying so much about winning and losing so much as the process that gets you there and enjoying it, is where the fun should hopefully be for a lot of people. And it can also be kind of trying and painful for some people who want to be the top. They think they're really good at Smash, and then they look at their online ranking and they're the 100,000th best Smash player. That sort of thing, I'd find that could be painful for some. So that's some of the reasons why I've decided not to go with leaderboard. When thinking about this game and when realizing that we were going to do Wi-Fi, we had to think a lot about the whole idea of net communication, communicating over the internet, and understanding that when we were doing this, one of the things that we paid a lot of attention to was the fact that there are a lot of unpleasant experiences to be had out there, be that being insulted over the internet or that sort of thing, and it's one thing if you're used to it. If you're playing a first-person shooter online with 16 people and you know these guys and they're trading things back and forth and yelling at each other, that's all well and good. But when you've got new people, and one thing I've aimed to do is really to bring new people into the fold, and if this is their first online experience, I want it to be a pleasant one. I want to dodge and avoid those kind of situations that could make the whole experience online psychologically damaging or unpleasant. So that's one of the reasons we've decided to not include that feature.